Hi, and welcome to this week's In Focus on Whitewater Community Television's WGTV Channel 11, or on Facebook if that's where you're watching, or maybe you're just listening to the audio of this program on a Sunday morning on G1013 or their sister station, 1490 AM, 100.9 FM, WKBV, ESPN Radio. However you are seeing or hearing this program, we appreciate you taking some time and spending it with us. I'm Eric from WCTV. We're going to have a nice conversation. Looking forward to. We did this last year, but it's time to bring it around again. A lot of conversation about Main Street, the downtown area in particular, particularly this past Tuesday evening as we did our election night coverage, our In Focus election special. A lot of conversation about that area of town, and it has been a topic of conversation for a number of years. And to find out and separate some of the fact from the fiction, we brought in Beth Newton, who's the executive director of Main Street. And thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for the invite. I appreciate it.
Glad to have you here again. Had a chance to speak to you last year. Always know that there are people coming into town who don't know a lot about Main Street, what it is, where it is, what's available down there. And as we get to the holiday season, that's always an evening where the parade is always big, and we will get to that. But for those folks who aren't familiar with Main Street Richmond, talk a little bit about the organization itself.
Main Street Richmond is an independent nonprofit. Our mission and our goals are to support small business in the district and support economic development. So our district currently runs from E to E and from the high school to 16th. So we have a pretty large area that we cover.
From the high school
Yes.
to 16th.
Yeah.
That's not an area that people would generally think about as being part of downtown.
Yeah. So we want to make sure that we encompass the arts and everything that comes with, including that area in our district. So we have Old Richmond, the Depot, Main Street, and then the Star neighborhood currently fall under our district. So we want to support the small businesses in that area, the economic development and growth in that area, and all that it can be, that core of the center of the city. So the core of Richmond.
It has been an area that for a number of years was vibrant. Obviously, our downtown areas were the center, particularly of smaller communities. There has been a push to bring them back. There have been a couple of initiatives through the years to try to do that, whether it was the facade program that was held down there. The city has had Reedmore in its possession for a while, trying to white box that and get that up and running. Talk about what you feel that area needs right now, and maybe what people are missing about what exists.
Absolutely. And we've talked before, and I think there's a lot of misconception on what actually is downtown. And just for an example, we recently hosted Trick or Treat, and we had 50 businesses and organizations on the Main Street between 5th and 10th to participate in that Trick or Treat. All 50 of those are within the core of our district. So there is a lot happening downtown. There are businesses that are up and running every day, and there's a lot going on. We've seen a lot of positive investment. We've seen a lot of local investment. The BSN building was recently purchased. At the corner of 10th and Main, Mike Weedall and his partner just purchased what used to be the old Star Piano retail building, and they're doing a lot of work on that. We're seeing a lot of, hey, we need this strong core, and we're ready to do the work to do it, or to complete the work. We saw Richmond Neighborhood Restoration just put in a bunch of work and create our first really new apartments downtown for a while with the Secret Ingredient building. We do have some that have existed above the Dollhouse. There's some apartments up there, some really nice 2-story with a balcony type things that people don't realize are there. But this is the first new initiative in a while, and we're excited to see people buying back into that core again. It's proven that a strong core makes a strong city. And when there was that switch to, I'm not going to shop downtown, I'm going to go to the corridors, and I just want to be able to jump off 70 and hit Meijer, or jump off and hit Walmart. And even with the mall, it kind of spread out from the core, and it really suffered. And we're finally seeing that come back.
We're going to talk about some of the good things in particular that are happening. We're going to talk about where you all exist and where you all do your work. For 3 years or so, you all were, and you've been landlords, you've always had people, but a lot of your facility was taken up as Purdue Polytechnic Richmond moved off the IU East campus and moved into that downtown space. Talk about what that was like, and now that they have reintegrated themselves in more with Ivy Tech, having that space back to rent. What's all of that been like for you all?
So back in 2020, Purdue did separate from IU East, and they were able to come into our facility at the Main Street Resource Center for a period of 3 years. Going into it, we knew that that was going to be the period that they would be downtown, and it was more of an opportunity for them to be able to host their students, try to get them acclimated with the area, while they were trying to make plans to get them all back together. They still had some classes at Ivy Tech as well as downtown, so they really wanted to be able to have that connection again with all their students in the same place. So we all went into it with a 3-year plan that they were going to be down there and see how that went. It was an eye-opening experience, to say the least.
For them, you, or both?
I think for everybody.
Okay.
We really thought that we would see them come in and, they would be able to support the local businesses and the restaurants. And I think it's going to take some time for the younger generation to get back to that comfort level. And we experienced this a lot during COVID. People got so used to not being face-to-face. And so some of these students would sit out front in the lobby area between classes with restaurants within walking distance and still call and have McDonald's delivered.
Okay.
Because they're just not comfortable with that person-to-person contact or walking into someplace new. That technology was their comfort piece. So we kind of learned from that we need to put more effort into the younger generation and getting them more acclimated with not shopping online, not doing everything online, but getting to know people again and getting to know the small stuff again. And so it was a learning experience. But through that, Purdue did move out at the end of the 3-year term, which was the end of their semester in the spring. And due to that, we have some office space that's opened up now in our Main Street Resource Center. So we do have about half of it rented, but we do have about 7 offices open. And that's open to anyone who's looking for an office space, whether it be they work remote, they work from home but just need to get out. They need a good Wi-Fi connection. Parallax has been great with our service and keeping us up and going and being able to meet the expectations of our tenants. Our office spaces range anywhere from 75 square feet to 250 square feet, and a variation of monthly fees. You can choose to do month to month. You can choose to do a year. So we're trying to be very accommodating. We know things change, so just trying to get, and again, it's an opportunity for them to we have one tenant who will take his lunch and just walk downtown just to get out. Sometimes when you work someplace where it's not always as easy to just, I'm going to take a 20-minute walk in the middle of the day or refresh myself. So it is a nice opportunity for those individuals to be so close to everything.
You're watching In Focus on Whitewater Community Television's WGTV Channel 11. We're having a conversation with Beth Newton, Executive Director, Main Street Richmond. A lot going on in that downtown Main Street area, the corridor being larger than most people think. If you ask people about downtown, they would probably tell you from 5th to 10th, or maybe from 3rd to 10th, something along those lines. Your boundaries for Main Street itself are much larger than that, encompassing an area that is larger than what people anticipate. But when they think about that core, for you to say we have 50 businesses within that core that most people are not really thinking about, maybe don't see, talk about some of the variety of businesses that you actually have up and running, opening their doors every day.
We have about anything. We have service organizations from numerous salons. Each of those salons provide different services. We have screen printing. We have multiple screen printers. We've got printers in general, whether it be you need menus for your restaurant, or we've got Infinite Print that handles that. We've got hobby shops. We have,
Got a pharmacy down
We
there.
have
We know
pharmacy,
that.
yeah, I'm like pharmacy, we have axe throwing.
Yeah, that's a new one that went in.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's hard to even, it's just normal. So it's hard for me to even to walk through and say, I'm just trying to, we've got the yarn shop, we've got a cycling shop, we've got formal dress wear, who now has taken over doing all of the tuxedo rentals and everything that used to be Armstrong.
Right.
So their business has doubled with, they were doing it before, but not as much. Now they've taken on all of those customers as well. So we're able to provide for a lot of what you need.
When we talk about downtown, one of the things that for a number of years people have said is there's no parking downtown. One of the reasons I don't go to the downtown area is I can't find parking. It's not possible to park. You all have put on your website an interactive map that actually shows where parking is, how long you can park in certain areas, which I think is good, and you've even given people a description of from those parking spaces to you, and you're probably in about the middle of that area, how far that is. And some of those walks are shorter than if you were at the mall, parked out near one of the eateries and walking into the mall.
Absolutely. It is. So that's something that I hear every day, and it just, honestly, it makes me cringe because we do have a lot of parking available. We've got lots, we've got Elstro, we've got the parking garage. So yes, if you go to our website, you can see on the map all the different locations as well as how many spaces are available. Like you said, I think the biggest kicker is a lot of people want to see the door when they go someplace. So if they can't
But you
park,
can't if you go to a mall.
That's true. That is very true.
You see the main door, but you don't see where
Absolutely.
you're going. And actually, if you walk inside the mall to one of the businesses, you still may be walking farther from inside the door to the
Absolutely.
business from a parking spot to where you all are.
yeah, there's plenty. I mean, if you just have to be open-minded. If you park at Walmart and have to go back and get milk, I guarantee you're putting in more steps than if you're having to park on the side street and walk to one of the center block businesses. Okay. So if you have to walk to the title company or you have to walk to the dollhouse or Circle Lee, it's not that far. It's really not. And sometimes if you want to park right in front, take a couple laps around. A space will probably open up. But there is parking. There's plenty of parking. I will probably not be popular for saying that, but there is parking. You just have to, you can't always see where the door. You've just got to go.
When you look at what downtown, and you've had a chance, obviously, to study this. You've done this a lot. When you think about what downtown needs, everybody's got their thought process, whether it's retail, whether it's more parking, whether it's security count, whatever the case may be. Talk about in your office and on your board, and you have a board of directors.
Correct.
Talk about what you all feel like is needed in that downtown, that main corridor. Let's stick to that because that's what most people are thinking about. What do you all feel like you need or is missing?
We actually worked with the National Main Street America last July, I believe, and did some community surveys, and then came in and put together a transformation strategy for downtown. So we asked, what do you guys want to see? We work for you. What do you want to have downtown? And the biggest things are, yes, retail. A lot of the retail shops, clothing stores that we've had down there have not lasted. So some additional retail, restaurants, some more variety of restaurants. The depot does have quite a bit more. Downtown is a little slower. We are home of the bakeries. If you need a pastry, we've got you covered.
We've got you covered, yes.
We do have some things coming in, so they'll be in the works soon. But definitely some more restaurants, and then just some more entertainment. Being able, back when I was younger, we still had Tivoli, where you could go to the theater downtown, but the movie theater. I mean, obviously we still have RCT, which is a great asset.
Oh, without a doubt.
But just some additional entertainment. Like you mentioned, we now have the axe throwing that a lot of people didn't realize was down there. But I think the biggest kicker is we need to be open past 5. Right now, we're still a downtown that really shuts down pretty much at 5 o'clock. So being able to get enough people down there that we can justify the businesses being able to maintain those evening hours.
Is that where the living spaces, having people live down there, is, I don't want to say is that a savior for it, because that's the wrong way of looking at it, but in you all's mind, is that the next step, having built-in residents that would help those businesses go, okay, there's 200 people living in this particular building, we know they're going to need things after 5.
Right. I do think it would be beneficial. There's still the chicken and the egg. Do we try to bring the businesses and keep them open later to encourage people to move down there? Or do we try to encourage them before that stuff is there? I struggle with not having a build-up downtown before we try to move people in, just because most people looking for a new place to live, they're looking for those amenities before they get there. Promising, oh, we're going to build it up in the next 1 to 2 years isn't always the most beneficial. So, I mean, I would love to be able to get some funding to maybe help our businesses cover wage expense for a short period for those additional evening hours. A lot of our businesses are ran by the owner-operator.
Right.
So any hours that are open, that owner's there. If we could help them get some people in to work those evening hours and just see how it increases business, if it's beneficial, to help them get that going. So maybe they can't afford it right now, but if we can help them fund that and they can get that initiative going, then maybe they will be able to justify it moving forward. So I think there's some ways like that we would be able, we being the city as a whole,
Right.
organizations as a whole, be able to help encourage some of that growth before we try to move too many people downtown.
When you all talk to businesses, and obviously that's one of the things you all do, you represent the businesses in that area, what is their feeling on some of the special events that have come in and out of Elstro Plaza? Having the farmers market there as an example during the summertime, the Shakespeare in the Park that has happened, some of the concerts that have happened. Have they been able to see and been able to figure out a way to drive some of the people that are in that space into their businesses?
It's still a struggle, and some of that is just the timing of when those take place. A lot of those take place on evenings and weekends, which comes back to our businesses not open during those times. So I think if there could be some more collaboration between helping them cover maybe an evening or weekend hours during some of those events, we would see more benefit. During the parade is a great example. A lot of our businesses will stay open during the parade time. Sweet Blessings always says she does great on those evenings, especially when it's cold and snowy and they have hot chocolate.
Sure.
So a lot of them will take advantage of the ones directly downtown, but we still need to work to pull on the events from Elstro.
You're watching In Focus on Whitewater Community Television's WGTV Channel 11. We're having a chance to spend some time with Beth Newton, Executive Director of Main Street. Let's move to a couple of the special events. You talked about the trick-or-treating that you all have done. You did it for a couple of years in a row now. Last year, a little wet, but still a nice turnout. This year, a little bit colder. But you said you still had a nice number of people come into the downtown area for that.
We did. We welcomed trick-or-treat with snow that day. Some little flurries, not too bad.
Not too bad. But around 5 o'clock, it just kind of opened up and started blowing up. What in the world?
We're pretty lucky when it comes to that. So like I mentioned, we had 50 different businesses and organizations that participated just downtown. That doesn't even include everybody that participated in the depot.
Right.
And we saw at least 1,500 people down there between kids and parents and families. We actually did put out a survey for those who participated, and we received nothing but positive feedback from it. Everybody really enjoys kind of the centralized location to be able to go. The time, we do from 5 to 7, so it's still lighter for the ones that are hesitant of having their kiddos out in the dark. But it was a great time. We loved seeing everybody down there, and it does give them a chance to say, oh, I didn't know that was there. And that's our biggest thing with bringing individuals downtown for events, is getting them to realize, what actually is down there. But we saw a huge crowd that seemed to really enjoy themselves.
Good. The Christmas parade, which is the holiday parade, Christmas parade that you all had last year. Very well attended.
Yes.
I was able to hang out down there. Some people stayed. Santa Claus was in one of the businesses, and Mrs. Claus afterwards.
Yep.
Talk about this year's theme, what you expect, and what people can expect, and can they still sign up and put a float, a car, or something in?
Absolutely, yeah. So last year we had about 30 participants sign up to participate in the parade. Many of those had multiple units with them, so we were pushing at least 50 different units in the parade. So it was a nice turnout. We pushed it back, so we started at 2nd last year and ran to 10th, and that's the plan again for this year. The parade will be Friday, December 1st. It starts at 7. And it'll start at 2nd, run in front of the jail and by the courthouse, and then up to 10th Street. Our theme this year is at the movies, so anything Christmas, holiday, movie related. We're hoping that we do the themes to hope that some of our floats participate in that theme when they're creating their floats.
Sure.
We have about 18, I think, on the roster so far, and we will take those registrations up until the week of the parade. If you can visit our website at www.mainstreetrichmond.org, and if you scroll down just a little bit, there's an event you can click on and you can register right there through the Google form. That'll let you sign up, let us know what you're bringing in, and then we'll communicate with all the details of that. And we're hoping to continue to grow. This is something that usually in the last couple of years it's been, standing room only, trying to get down the sidewalks has been pretty crowded.
Yes,
so
it has been.
we would like to continue to see that happen. And it's definitely something that with COVID people missed. And when we were able to bring it back, it was a big benefit. And a great thing about our parade falling on Friday is that Main Street Centerville has their parade on Saturday. So any of the floats that participate in Friday night can pop on over to their Facebook page and also sign up to participate in their lighted parade on Saturday. So,
talk a little bit about that collaboration between the Main Street organizations that have continued to pop up, evolve, and try to help their particular communities. You all are, I believe, trying not to work in a silo. You all are trying to work across city lines, town lines to help each other out.
Yeah, and that was an initiative of Forward Wayne County through the Wayne County Foundation. We actually have a Main Street Coalition, which I skipped to come to this. So, don't tell them that I'm here.
Okay.
But
they'll never know.
They won't know. It's not like it's on TV or anything. So we do once a month get on a phone call with all of the main streets and talk about what we have going on. We try to make sure that none of our events overlap with one another.
Right.
It's very important for all of us to support each other. We're all, whether it's all ran volunteer or whether it is paid staff like Main Street Richmond, we're all still trying to accomplish the same things. We want to see strong cores, we want to see strong main streets and strong businesses and development. So we do try to meet up once a month and kind of see what's going on and how we can help each other out.
Nice. The parade will be easier to deal with this year because you're not trying to get streets, you're not trying to get 8th Street opened up. There won't be the big divot. Talk about how getting some of that construction through that downtown area cleared up is potentially going to help you all during this holiday season.
Yes, so with 9th Street back open, we do have parking back again on 9th, so that does help with the parking situation when people are trying to look for someplace. Just traveling through downtown, you'd be surprised how many people actually cut through downtown when they're going from one side to the other. A lot of people jog around and go A.
Yeah.
But Main Street really does stay pretty busy with traffic going through. So this holiday season, we're hoping that without the construction, we get more people that just cut through and can see what actually is available. But we are excited that it is open. And
when do the decorations go up?
You
That's
know
always
what?
something that helps drive people.
I actually just reached out to Tony at RPNL today to see when he could turn back on my outlets. And the Parks Department will be, I'm sure soon, starting to decorate the trees. I plan to decorate our building starting this weekend. It's always fun asking my husband to get up on the roof and help me with the lights. So on a 3-story building is always great. But the holidays are one of my favorite times of the year, and I love lights. And if you're downtown, hopefully you'll notice the Christmas music coming from our building. We do have a speaker that we play some Christmas music on during the holiday season. So
Nice.
just a little ambiance of the holidays. And so we're hoping to get everything going. Obviously, we want it all done before the first when the parade happens. So.
Sure.
Yeah.
The other thing that happens during the holiday season, right around that Thanksgiving time, Shop Small Saturday.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about that, the impact that that can make and has made to some of your businesses in that downtown corridor.
So Shop Small Saturday is an initiative that happens every year. It's majorly supported by American Express. And this year, a little bit different. We partnered, the Indiana Main Streets that are nationally accredited have partnered with OCRA, which is Office of Community and Rural Affairs, which oversees the Main Street programs. And the nationally accredited Main Streets will be able to offer to our small businesses to provide to the customers these new bags with collectible pins. So each of the national Main Streets have their own collectible pins.
Okay.
And there's a little brochure that shows each of the downtowns and lists what they have to offer for Shop Small. So these will be inside the bags. We've got a nice spread of all that we have to offer with our friendly faces of local. And then there's little cards that show you how you can collect the pins from each of the main streets. So it's more of an ongoing effort this year to try to get people to not only shop local in your own town, but to shop local and shop small in other areas too. So that'll be an initiative that we're hoping maybe we'll see more travel into Richmond from out of the area to support our local as well.
The other thing that you all get to do and host to a certain extent during the winter is the Winterfest, the ice carvers that come in. You get through December, everybody kind of takes a breath. And then at the end of January, you all get inundated. You hope the weather is not too warm. You hope the weather is not too horribly cold. There's that middle ground. Talk about what that event has been able to do in, again, that downtown area. And you all encompass, when we talk about the downtown area, it encompasses that whole area to a certain extent for you all.
Yes. So Meltdown happens the end of January, that last week, and there are events all throughout the week. Obviously, the Throwdown is the big event on the Saturday. But it is something that brings in, we get visitors from all over that have heard about the event and come in for that. So that is a great opportunity. The sculptures are lined up down Main Street and towards the depot. So there's some in the depot and then between. So it allows those visitors to see what's offered in both areas. I actually had an email earlier this week of somebody who loved our festival and was looking to do maybe just a similar ice sculpture at one of their events, and reached out and said, "You guys do it so well, can you give us any insight?" And luckily the Meltdown has had a lot of great committees and work taking place over the last several years, and it's become a great event, and it's a huge event that brings in not only visitors, but it just gets our local community together to come out and to see what's going on and just spend time together. So
you all obviously have conversation about what might or might not happen with the Elder Bierman building, the former Elder Bierman building, maybe being torn down, maybe becoming apartments, obviously, as with an election just happening, how that takes shape is still to be determined.
Right.
But you've got an event center that's opening up. You mentioned what is going to be, I believe, a maker's space in the former BSN building. I know Kathy Hillard was here on with Tim Scales on his In Your Business show, talking about her ventures downtown and the new business that she's opening up. Talk about what kind of excitement those type of things are creating for you and your staff. New things to market, new things to talk about.
Absolutely. It is exciting. It's, just getting an event center downtown where we can bring people in. They'll be able to, some of them stay in the same building with Airbnbs upstairs. The brides and grooms could get their tuxes and their dresses right next door at Angelina's. The Makerspace building will provide an opportunity for the community to try out new things. So a lot of trades that people might not ever have the chance to try out, they can go there and have the machinery or the capability to try these things out. Maybe learn something new, see something else that they might be interested in, whether it be young adults, teens, to adults who maybe said, you know what, I've always wanted to do that, but I really never had the opportunity. So that's a great place to be able to bring people down and let them try things out, and then just get them to the area. Again, I said, pulling them in. We got that hook, so we have the thing they want to come down for, and then keep them down there for some of those. Kathy has always been a great supporter of the area, and opening another business on Main Street is exciting for us. Being able, like we talked about restaurants, being able to provide food. Obviously, her catering is state of the art. She's doing so well with that. It's great to be able to provide that downtown. And with the change with Purdue, we now have event space too that can be rented. So that's an opportunity for us as well as others who want to participate in events and get people seeing downtown. We actually had our first group in the summer. Head Start came and did some training in the area, and they loved it. I mean, they were able to park in the parking garage. They could come in, bring food in. We have no issues with it being catered by whoever you want. Okay. Reasonable cost, and it just helps us support our mission. So we do have space available for that if anybody's interested. Also on our website. So.
Talk about your website. Talk about how people connect with you if they are thinking about, if they're working remotely and going, I really need an office, I really need something else, if I need a place. And we have held on a few occasions our annual meeting in your conference room. Talk about what size room that is and what amenities you have in there for folks.
So we've got a couple options. We have a greenhouse space that holds about 12 people. It's probably your typical boardroom size. But it does have the option you can connect to a TV. You have all those same options to be able to project. Our conference hall has two sides to it. You can rent it one side or the other side or both combined. You have that option. And with those spaces, it can be anywhere from $25 for an hour to an entire day for like $375. So it's very reasonable. With that, you have access to a kitchenette. Like I said, you can bring in your own food. You can have it catered. There's plenty of parking, so it's very convenient, and we're willing to do whatever you need. We've got tables, chairs, any setup you need, we can work with you on that. So
cool. Yeah. Parade's coming up December 1st.
Yes.
People can still sign up for that.
Please
still
do.
Plenty of room for floats and things. They need to reach out to you. How do they connect with you or a member of your staff?
The easiest way would be to jump on our website if you want to go in directly that way. You can always email us at info@mainstreetrichmond.org. That actually goes to all of our staff, so somebody will definitely get back with you fairly quickly. When I say our staff, it's really just me and Andy, so there's two of us. But you can also check us out on Facebook, Instagram. Please be sure to share and encourage others to also follow our pages. Our Facebook page will always have upcoming events. And keep you in the know of everything that's going on downtown. So that's something that we would like to continue to see grow. We're growing daily. It's exciting just to see how in the last year we've picked up more following with the events we've been able to do. So I would like to encourage everybody to share that and get them on their page, make sure they know what's going on. That's one of the most frustrating things is when people say, well, I had no idea that was happening. Because it doesn't matter. I mean, you can do paper, you can do social media, you can do, and it still seems like somebody didn't see it. So we do try to post everywhere we can. Keep our most current events and the kiosk posters downtown, on those. So make sure you drive through downtown so you see those.
And walk through downtown.
And walk down. Yep.
Anything before I let you go? Anything that I haven't asked you about that you really want the community to know about the downtown area, Main Street, Richmond in particular?
The biggest thing is we're still there. We're still hopping, and we hope that everybody will come down and continue to show support. Our businesses deserve it, and they would love to be able to continue to provide for the city. So,
marvelous. Beth Newton, Executive Director, Main Street, Richmond. Always appreciate the time.
Thank you so much.
I thought we were going to. Okay. We'll be back with some conversation from our election night right after this on Whitewater Community Television. Okay, I'll just end it there. 3, 2, 1. We'll be back with conversation from our election night special right after this.
Hi, I'm Sherry Harlan, program host for Let's Talk Together. Join us on our next episode where we will discuss advancements in diabetes management.
What we want to do is help them, you know,
Sure.
and if we have the right drugs on board, then we can do that more effectively.
Because that's why you're providers.
Yeah. That's right.
We Join us Thursday, 8 o'clock, Channel 20 WETV.
WCTV supports local entertainment. WCTV supports local information. WCTV supports our local students. WCTV needs your support to continue supporting our community, and it's easy to do. Become a member as an individual or family. Nonprofit and business memberships are also available with benefits including video production and program sponsorship. Membership donations are critical, and when deciding where your support dollars go, support an organization that serves the community you live in. Visit WCTV.info or call 765-973-8488.
Thanks for staying with us on this edition of In Focus on WGTV Channel 11. Our election night coverage on Tuesday night gave us a chance to have some interesting conversations about various aspects of the community. We're going to play a little bit of that for you here on In Focus.
Welcome back to In Focus Live on election night here at Whitewater Hall, IU East, with my friends from Whitewater Community Television, Western Wayne News. I'm Melissa Vance from the Chamber of Commerce, and I am joined now by Commissioner Jeff Plaster. Thank you for sitting in for a little bit.
It is my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So we know that the county isn't on the ballot today, but the county has been very instrumental in orchestrating all of the initiative with helping
Hoosier Enduring Legacy Program.
There you go.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And that is all about how we are allocating ARPA dollars from our various government entities.
Correct.
So tell us a little bit about the different communities that participated and how we got to a place where we had a final list.
Sure. So about 2 years ago, a little more than 2 years ago now, we got word from the Office of Community and Rural Affairs that they would offer this program, the Hoosier Enduring Legacy Program. It was available to any community or region. Region, by their definition, is any group of communities within one county that are working together. And so we decided that this was an opportunity to really reach out to the communities in Wayne County and have the county work with them to essentially help them make sure that they were spending their American Rescue Plan dollars as effectively as they possibly could. So we put an application together, the city and the county working together, created an application. We tried to reach out to all of the incorporated towns in Wayne County and ask if they wanted to participate. And essentially we said, you're going to spend your ARPA dollars within your own community, but the county can spend its ARPA dollars throughout the county. And so if you want to join with us, work with us, there may be opportunities for us to use those county ARPA dollars within the communities that are participating. So to complement what they wanted to do. Exactly. And so we did our best to reach out to all 14 of the incorporated towns in Wayne County. 7 of them, including the city of Richmond, agreed to participate, and what that meant was they committed 30% of their ARPA dollars, whatever they were getting from the federal government, to implementation of a plan that we would work together on. And so again, 2 years ago we put together this coalition. It included Wayne County, the city of Richmond, Economy, Cambridge City, Dublin, Milton, Spring Grove, and so those communities agreed to participate and commit 30% of their ARPA dollars. So just to give you a little bit of context, Economy received $39,000 in ARPA dollars, and so their commitment of 30% is just about $12,000. The county, in contrast, received just under $13 million in ARPA dollars, and so our commitment was at least $3.8 million. As it turned out, because there were projects that we thought were appropriate, the community thought was appropriate, we ended up committing just over $6 million towards these projects. So we met with the communities, we met with the public, we did a survey, so over 1,000 people participated in putting together this plan and the projects that are part of the plan.
And interestingly,
Go ahead.
along with the government dollars that came from the county and the towns and the city, you saw some private corporations come
We did.
alongside and say, these are so great, we want to participate.
Absolutely. And I would say initially there were two companies that jumped on board before the planning process even began. So Sugar Creek Packing committed $100,000 towards implementation, and First Bank Richmond committed $100,000. And now it's up to them to decide which of the projects identified in the plan that they want to support. Since we put the plan together, we've had others come on board, Merchants Bank, Paul and Pat Lingle, the Tourism Bureau,
Wayne County Foundation.
Wayne County Foundation. The EDC actually committed from the very beginning, and the EDC committed $500,000 of the Consolidated Edit Fund. The county committed another $500,000 of the Wayne County Edit Fund. So all in all, there's 12 or 13 million dollars that's already committed. We hope to leverage that. And one of the projects we're supporting is in in 6 of the 7 communities. The community has agreed to participate in a program that's sponsored by the Indiana Housing and Community Development Authority called Creating Places. So 5 of the small towns are taking on a renovation or creation of a park and playground in their communities. We anticipate that we'll raise $50,000 at least in each of those communities. And then the IHCDA at the state level will contribute a matching $50,000. So these projects will spend in excess of $100,000 in Dublin, Cambridge City, Milton, Economy, and East Germantown. I think I neglected to mention East Germantown in
right.
the initial list. My apologies to Steve and his folks.
So since we're talking about Richmond today with
Sure.
the city,
Sure.
city elections and a couple of the other communities, we have elections going on in Milton and Cambridge City
Right.
and some of those. So let's start with those areas
Okay.
that we have people potentially watching from those communities. Wanting to hear more about what's coming
Sure.
to their area. So tell us a little bit about Cambridge City and the Kreitz Park initiative that's going on there.
Okay, so Cambridge City has actually selected 2 projects that will be part of HELP. One of those is a playground revitalization that we alluded to from the Creating Places. So we firmly believe they'll have in excess of $100,000 to enhance the playground in Kreitz Park. The second program is to put together a gathering place, a performance venue in Kreitz Park, and we were able to tap into one of the benefits of participating with Okra on this. They gave the county an extra $1 million of community development block grant money to spend on these projects. And so $450,000 will go to this performance venue in Kreitz Park, and they're busily working on the plans for that project. It'll be just to the north of the fire station in Kreitz Park. So those are the projects for Cambridge. They're bringing in With their commitment of $118,000, they're going to have about $750,000 to spend on those two projects in
That's
total.
so huge, because when you think about their portion of just
Absolutely.
over 100,000, to be able to have that $750,000 project
Absolutely.
total going into that community, they've been really forward thinking in the way they've gone about
and
some
they
of their
just
planning.
just completed their comprehensive plan. So these pieces fit right into their comprehensive plan, and this is a way to help them fund the projects that they identified as being important to Cambridge City.
Great. So let's move on to Richmond and talk
Sure.
about some projects there. I know one of the big things that both the county and the city have committed dollars to is the gorge renovation activation.
Right.
And so tell us a little bit about that, and how long has that plan been in place, and how far is this money going to take it?
Yeah. Well, and it's not going to take it as far as we would like. You know, a couple $1 million doesn't go nearly as far as it used to, but they've been involved in this planning process for years already. They have a book of exactly what they would like to do in the gorge when and if the money becomes available. They are right now have $1 million committed. $500,000 of that is coming from Department of Natural Resources. It's a federal funding program. And then $500,000 from the Redevelopment Commission, the Richmond Redevelopment Commission. We've looked at that. We talked about that. It got a lot of public support in our conversations over the 2 or 3 months that we were gathering public input. The Tourism Bureau is very high on this project. They actually committed $50,000 of tourism money to support the project. The EDC views it as an economic development tool. The Chamber is very supportive of the project. So the county actually put together $1.4 million that the county is committing to the gorge activation. So this will take us through phase 2 of the project. I want to say there are 4 or 5 phases, and so this will work to make the river more accessible and more visible from the Gorge Park, and it will also, as I understand it, build some kayak launching spots at the north end and the south end of the river and the Gorge Park. So it ties together very nicely with the trail that's already there and runs through most of the gorge.
It'll create things for people to do.
Absolutely.
Which is what we've been asked over and over.
Absolutely.
Let's find places for them to live and things for them to do. And this plan, we don't have time to go into all of the housing elements, but housing is a part of this, and some downtown revitalization, not just in Richmond, but around the county
Correct.
as well.
Correct.
A little bit of support for broadband.
Childcare.
The
county is putting some money into its emergency communication system, which has needed to be done for quite some time, and this was a way to be able to fund that. And again, one of the most important elements of this is getting some benefit of the expertise from Purdue, Ball State, IU, and Ivy Tech on how ARPA dollars can and should be spent, and on gathering public input so that we're attempting to do things that the community has indicated that they want to have done.
So for $25 million total impact with all of these projects that have funding committed, And the timeline for completion for these projects is when?
It's pretty short. So we have to officially commit all of the funding by the end of 2024, and then we have until the end of 2026 for those projects that are construction oriented. So the Gorge Park, for example, and the construction there has to be done by the end of 2026. So there's going to be some sleepless nights over the next 3 years because nothing happens as quickly as you think it should,
Right.
And we're talking about public dollars, so we have to account for all of this money back to the Federal Treasury Department. So there's a lot of paperwork that goes into it as well, but we feel like we've put together a plan that the community will support. The money is there and it's committed. All 8 of the governmental entities that are participating have adopted the plan and put their stamp of approval on it. So the money will be there and we will move forward. We anticipate at the first of the year we'll be getting some of the rules and application process out for those projects that will support the private sector.
Right.
So we're moving forward full speed.
Well, hats off to you and all of the people that worked on this project. It's,
Over 100 people
it's been
involved
a lot of
in
folks, and it's been really neat to see
coordination.
this come together. And I think, having projects like this queued up helps us leverage other things that are
Absolutely.
that we'll get to talk about more in
And
the future.
it
So,
will bring private investment alongside it.
Yes.
So that's the exciting part of this.
well, thank you for spending a little time with me tonight
Absolutely.
on
Thank you,
election
Melissa.
night, and we appreciate all the work that you do on a regular basis, and those that work alongside you. So,
Thank you.
Well, I'm Melissa Vance with the Wayne County Chamber, and we are going to take a little break and then circle back. We want to give a shout out to Millie from Western Wayne News and Steve from Whitewater Community Television. You saw a segment just before this one where they were out and about talking to people and getting some footage around the county as folks were out voting and really participating in this election season. So we appreciate you if you went to the polls, and appreciate all the work of the people behind the scenes. We'll be back in just a moment.
Thank you very much for watching this week's In Focus on Whitewater Community Television's WGTV Channel 11. See replays of this program beginning tonight and throughout the weekend. You can also find it on our Facebook page. Thanks for watching In Focus. As always, I wish you well.